drier and hotter weather due to prolonged lack of rain in the final phase of the northeast monsoon.
Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheh. Malaysia has reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to combating Islamophobia. Marking the 3rd anniversary of the International Day to Combat Islamophobia, today, Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Mohamad Hassan says Malaysia will continue to fight Islamophobia and all acts of violence and hatred against individuals based on their religions or beliefs. In a statement, he said that Malaysia continued to uphold the spirit of Article 1 of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which states that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. He draws attention to offensive and provocative actions, which includes the repeated desecration of the Holy Quran that continues to fuel hatred and violence against Muslim and religious minorities and the need to address them. Besides welcoming various initiatives by organizations such as the UN General Assembly, the Human Rights Council and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Mohamad also called for more tangible actions to tackle the cause of Islamophobia, adding that Malaysia fully supports the call for an appointment of the UN Special Envoy on combating Islamophobia. The Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability Ministry will continue to monitor the current hot spell affecting the country. This is to ensure that prompt actions can be taken, if necessary, to safeguard the welfare of the people.
Honorable President.
Speaking to Bernama, Minister Nik Nazmi Nik Ahmad said several ministries and government agencies had already been instructed to refer to the ministry's hot weather monitoring manual to face any eventualities. Nik Nazmi said the National Haze and Dry Weather Main Committee, chaired by himself, already had a meeting last week to coordinate the country's preparedness in facing hot and dry weather. Nik Nazmi said the current hot weather is a recurring phenomenon happening every year from February to May, and that Malaysia was in the final phase of the northeast monsoon expected to continue until the end of March. Meanwhile, the Sabah government will hold a meeting tomorrow to assess the impact of the dry spell on the people, water resources and agriculture in the state. Deputy Chief Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Jeffrey Kittingan, who will chair the meeting, said the impacts of the drought can already be seen with river levels dropping between 10% and 40%.
Kittingan, who also serves as the State Agriculture, Fisheries and Food Industries Minister, said crops like paddy had also been affected by the dry spell, with rice farmers being among the most affected. As chairman of the State Water Resources Commission, Kittingan said the meeting will also determine the severity of the drought's effects on water resources, including irrigation systems used for farming. Discussion on assistance for farmers, especially in terms of financial aid, will follow suit. 5 districts in Sabah are facing critical reductions in river water caused by the drought. They are Kota Belud, Keningau, Membakut, Tambunan and Kota Marudu.
In other news, single-aisle jet services will return to Subang Airport, also known as Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah Airport, from June. This comes as the terminal is being expanded to accommodate more passengers and jet operations.
Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad, MAHB, told the New Straits Times that the expansion work would include the construction of up to 5 parking bays for narrow-body aircraft and 6 bays for turboprop aircraft. However, he did not disclose the cost of the project or the developer. The ongoing expansion is part of the first phase of the Subang Airport Regeneration Plan, announced by Transport Minister Anthony Loke last year. When completed, it would see the terminal upgraded to handle up to 3 million passengers a year, up from the current 1.5 million. The aim is to handle 8 million passengers by the 3rd phase.
Former 1MDB General Counsel Jasmine Liu has denied making any deals with the authorities to have charges against her dropped. Liu told the High Court today as a prosecution witness in the trial of Datuk Seri Najib Razak over the misappropriation of 2.27 billion ringgit in 1MDB funds. Liu was charged in absentia in December 2018 with laundering a total of $5.99 million. She returned to Malaysia in July last year. Liu was cross-examined by Najib's lead counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, said she had left the matter to her lawyers and did not appear in court for the case. During her testimony, Liu also told the court that $15 million from 1MDB was deposited into 2 Swiss bank accounts and later used by fugitive businessman Joe Low to buy properties in London and New York. Under further questioning by Shafi, Liu said Low had claimed the money did not come from 1MDB, but the US Department of Justice investigation proved otherwise. We'll go for a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda, tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada.
Welcome back. Bullying cases in schools can sometimes be neglected and overlooked. Can artificial intelligence help bridge the gap in anti-bullying measures? Unit 10's Professor Dr. Manjit Singh Sidhu shares his insights.
Bullying cases require a multi-layered approach, and one notable gap lies in early detection and intervention. So these bullying incidents often go unreported, which leads to prolonged harm to the victims. So AI can help the ongoing efforts to combat bullying cases in schools. For example, for early detection, here AI-powered cameras may be installed in common areas like playgrounds, hallways, entrances to monitor student behavior and detect potential bullying incidents. Smart sensors can be used to detect unusual noises or movements in areas where bullying might occur, such as restrooms and empty classrooms. So by doing so, timely identification of such incidents can prevent the escalation of bullying. Also, in the event of bullying incident, AI-powered facial recognition can help to help identify the individuals involved and track their movements as well. Now, apart from that, behavior analysis can be performed. Now, here AI can be used to analyze audio and video footage to detect aggressive or unusual behavior, and even analyze written content such as messages on social posts to identify bullying related keywords and sentiments as well. One more is to use alert systems, whereby AI systems can generate real-time alarms. This is for teachers, for administrators or parents when bullying behavior is detected or suspected in particular area of the school.
According to Manjit, integrating AI in schools requires a comprehensive approach for it to yield positive results.
So the schools should provide comprehensive training programs to familiarize the staff and teachers with AI technologies used for addressing bullying. So this training should cover not only the technical aspects of the AI systems, but also ethical considerations, privacy concerns, and best practices for intervention. We also need a collaborative approach here. So AI should be seen as a tool to augment rather than replace human intervention. So the teachers and staff should work collaboratively with AI systems. This will leverage their capabilities to enhance their existing efforts in addressing bullying.
On to updates in Gaza. Hamas has presented a ceasefire proposal for Gaza to mediators and the US, but it has been rejected by Israel. According to a proposal seen by Reuters, the deal includes the release of Israeli hostages in exchange for the freedom of Palestinian prisoners, 100 of whom are serving life sentences. Hamas said the initial release of Israelis would include women, children, the elderly, and sick hostages in exchange for the release of 700 to 1,000 Palestinian prisoners.
Hamas also reportedly said that a date for a permanent ceasefire would be agreed after the initial exchange, and that a date for an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza would be agreed after the first stage. But Benjamin Netanyahu's office has described Hamas' demand as unrealistic. Meanwhile, the first ship carrying 200 tons of food aid by Cyprus has reached the coast of the Gaza Strip. If the new sea route is successful, it may help ease the hunger crisis affecting Gaza as mediators continue to reach a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Australia is reinstating funding to a key UN aid agency amid concerns about the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Foreign Minister Penny Wong announced the decision to unfreeze $6 million Australian dollars in emergency funding for UNRWA on Friday as part of a broader package of support.
The Australian government has been briefed by the World Food Programme that there are large stocks of food outside of Gaza's borders, but there is no way to move it across the border into Gaza and deliver it at scale without Israel's cooperation, and we implore Israel to allow more aid into Gaza now.
Australia, along with more than a dozen countries, suspended funding to UNRWA after Israel claims several workers had links to the October 7 attack by Hamas. The UN launched an investigation into these allegations, leading to the dismissal of some UNRWA staff. Sweden, Canada and the European Union have this month said they would also resume funding to UNRWA, but its largest donor, the United States, has maintained a payment freeze.
Over in Russia, voting has begun in the country's presidential election, which is all but certain to extend President Vladimir Putin's rule for another 6 years. Putin faces no real competition in the vote amid a clampdown on dissent in the country. His most outspoken critics are either dead, in jail or in exile.
Voting is set to take place over 3 days. Polling stations opened on Friday morning in the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia's easternmost region, and will close at 8 p.m. on Sunday in the westernmost enclave of Kaliningrad. There is little suspense in the election, with 71-year-old Putin running virtually unopposed for a fifth term in office. The three other candidates on the ballot are low-profile politicians from token opposition parties who toe the Kremlin line. His fiercest political opponent, Alexei Navalny, died last month in a remote Arctic penal colony. Although there is no doubt about the final outcome of the election, authorities are aiming for a high turnout, which will be presented as proof of Putin's popular mandate. Putin has been president since 2000, apart from 4 years as prime minister because of a 2-term limit imposed by the Russian constitution.
In other news, the father of a Michigan school gunman who fatally shot 4 students in 2021 has been convicted of manslaughter. Prosecutors argue that James Crumley had ignored his 15-year-old son's mental health needs when he bought him the handgun used in the attack.
Crumley is due to be sentenced next month, along with his wife, who was also convicted on the same charges. The case against the couple marks the first time parents have been charged with manslaughter for their child's role in a shooting in the US. The crime carries a penalty of up to 15 years in prison. Their son, Ethan, killed 4 of his classmates and injured 7 others in the shooting in November 2021. He is currently serving a sentence of life in prison without parole.
That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Fanashe. Thank you for watching.